You're listening to the PRO Media Network, the next level in entertainment.
Get ready. It's time for the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Telling you everything you need to know about the Saints, Pelicans, and a whole lot more.
Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma, Big Q and the guys. And we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports family. I'm Big Q, and on the line we got DC chiming in. What's going on, DC?
Yo, what up?
And this is episode 234 on the Sports Coma. That's right, episode 234, as we are recapping the Saints. That's right, the Saints overtime win, 43-37 over those hated rival Atlanta Falcons in their building, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium out there in Atlanta, Georgia. The Saints go out there, and it wasn't pretty, but ultimately the Saints did come back with the W. So we're going to recap that today. Of course, during all game recaps, we do our world-famous thumbs up, thumbs down segment. We're going to talk about, in this show, the Saints' defensive performance. We'll go over that. We'll also talk about it was a record-setting day for a couple of Saints. The secondary concerns remain primary. That's the primary concern of mine, and I'm pretty sure of my comrade, about the secondary. We'll talk about the woeful performance in the secondary as they're giving up 5 touchdowns and over 300 yards over there from Matt Ryan. So very interesting. We'll also talk about the injuries that happened as P-Rob was carted off. Von Bell had a situation as well. Taysom Hill gets results. That's another topic we'll talk about. Then we'll hit you with our Sports Coma question of the day, which is, did the Saints' performance in Atlanta inspire confidence to keep the title hopes alive? What do you think about that? You know, chime in and put your comments in the comment section below. And remember, all comments to this question will be read on the next show. We'll read the replies of the last Sports Coma question of the day, which was about the Atlanta Falcons injury situation. We'll cover all that today on episode 234. So before we get started, as always, we'd like to thank all of the new and established listeners of the Sports Coma. Thank you guys for chiming in with us for 234 as we get going. Now, DC, in this game dealing with the Saints, it had to take it all the way to overtime to ultimately pull this game out. And I'm pulling up a couple of the statistics, the team statistics, when you look at the win. Of course, the Saints had 32 first downs in this game. That's amazing, versus the Falcons 24. Total plays, the Saints had 77 total plays in this game. That's just mind-boggling. Versus Atlanta 60.
Overtime.
Yeah, but that's crazy. 534 total yards offense by the Saints versus 407 by the Falcons. Of course, the Saints were averaging, and the Falcons as well, almost 7 yards every time a play went on. You look at some of the overall statistics dealing with penalties. Saints had a ridiculous 11 penalties for 120 yards versus what Atlanta did, 5 penalties for 54 yards. Of course, no turnovers in this game, so that was a good sticking point, as well as the Saints' time possession was 37-45 versus 29-20 Falcons. Looking at some of the individual statistics, DC, and we're going to do the offense first and go right into some of this commentary on some of this stuff. Drew Brees, 39-49. 396 total yards for Drew Brees. 3 touchdowns. Of course, he was sacked 1 time, but he had a QB rating of 120.7. Very excellent day for Drew Brees. The Saints' rushing game was 27 carries for 143 yards, although Alvin Kamara had 16 carries for 66 yards. And, of course, Taysom Hill had three carries for 39 yards. And even Drew Brees got into the act today. He scrambled around. He seen Taysom Hill getting all that running as a quarterback. And he said, man, listen, I'm about to show y'all something. I could do something, too. So Drew had 3 scrambles for 7 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns for Drew. Drew got all the touchdowns. Brees even did hit the circle button if you're a PlayStation player and spent off a tackle to get in the end zone. Big ups to Drew Brees and what he did today. On a receiving stat situation, man, Michael Thomas continues to shine. He had 10 catches for 129 yards, averaging 13 yards a catch. Everything Drew threw to him, he caught it. They targeted him 10 times. He had 10 catches. Alvin Kamara, 15 catches, 124 yards on the day. Ben Watson got into it. He had a splendid diving catch. He had 5 catches for 71 yards. And, of course, Ted Ginn Jr., 3 catches for 12 yards and a touchdown in the game. Cameron Meredith got into the act. His only target and only catch was the 11-yard touchdown, which resulted 11-yard touchdown. So big ups to Cam Meredith. If they bringing him along slowly, big ups to him. Now, of course, Josh Hill and Austin Carr got tagged. They both had receptions along with Jonathan Williams. Zach Lyon had 2 catches for 6 yards, and he also had a very good touchdown, too, down in the red zone as well. And pretty awesome day for the receivers overall. 39 catches for 396 yards, 3 touchdowns on the statistics. Now,
we got to call it what it is. It was a pretty awesome day for Michael Thomas, Kamara, and Ben Watson.
Those guys, well, they were splendid, man. I can't say nothing.
That's 36 of the targets.
Right, of 39 targets, right. So they were splendid, man, no doubt about it. Splendid. Mike Thomas has been doing some ridiculous, whatever this is. I mean, he's just been awesome. Alvin Kamara is just taking it up a notch. Ben Watson even getting into the act. Ted Ginn had a quiet 3 catches for 12 yards, but one of them was a touchdown. So, I mean, and even Cam Meredith snuck in there, and Zach Lyon snuck in there. So some of those guys might have the catches, but the back guys got the touchdowns. Let's talk about that. The Saints record-setting offense performance by, of course, Drew Brees. Of course, Brees in this game, he moved past Brett Favre in his completions.
Yeah, in his completions, he's number 1 now.
Number 1 in completions. This whole season is going to be him catching up with some of those guys ahead of him, man. It's just going to be a splendid season for Drew. And even Mike Thomas got into the act with his record-setting day. Tell us about Mike Thomas' record-setting day.
Man, Michael Thomas has the most reception of a wide receiver in the first 3 games of the season in NFL history.
That's big.
Amazing, man. Amazing. And he deserves it, man. As well as Drew Brees, he has a hell of a way of bouncing back from an off day against Cleveland. And Michael Thomas worked hard all offseason to be where he's at. Shout out to those guys.
Big ups to both those guys, Drew Brees and Mike Thomas. They continue to carry this team, man, in amazing ways. Now, that's the bright side of things. Let's take a look on the other side.
You got to give a shout out to Alvin Kamara too, man.
We just gave Alvin
touches today.
We just gave Alvin Kamara.
He handled it like a champ. Somebody say he's not durable enough. He can't carry it that much. He can't do this, can't do that. He looked all right for me. So shout out to Alvin Kamara, man. Big part of us winning too.
I don't know who's saying Alvin Kamara can't handle all that. 15 catches and 16 carries on a day was quite amazing. So, of course, all those guys, Kamara and Brees and Michael Thomas, they're doing it and doing it big for the team. So big ups to those guys as well. Let's move on. The Saints' defensive performance. Let's key that in because, of course, the offense struggled before, and now the defense what I'm going to say is I'm not going to even talk about the whole defense struggling here. We're going to just pinpoint it to a section of the defense, and we all know what it is. It's the secondary. Secondary struggling like hell. Of course, allowing 5 touchdowns to Matt Ryan, who's 26-35, 5 touchdowns, 374 yards back there. Now, of course, the Saints got to him 3 times. Cam Jordan got 2 sacks. 2 sacks last game, 2 sacks this game. Cam has 4 in the season. And Marcus Davenport, the pass rushing rookie, gets his first sack here. So big ups to Davenport and Cam showing them how to get it done. Now, of course, the Saints deeper in performance, they shut down the run. This is the same team that had a pretty decent game last week against Carolina. Not so much against the Saints. 22 carries, 48 yards on the game. The Saints run defense and up front 7 shut them down. There was none of that going on. But the back end, well, that's a total different story. Let's talk about that, DC. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I thought it was just a lot of people want to say, oh, well, they're not getting no pressure. They're not getting no pressure. I think they had 5 quarterback hits, countless pressures. We got 3 sacks today. Davenport looked like a baby Cam Jordan on the other side at periods. Cam Jordan played a grown man game. Sheldon Rankins was applying pressure. You saw Oyamata in the mix, you know. So, I mean, our linebackers played decent. Davis played pretty good for the most part, and he even got a quarterback hit. You know, so you're seeing A.J. Klein basically finish the game out for us so we can win. But then you look at the secondary, man. Like, it was just tearing through us like wet tissue paper, bro. I mean, we couldn't hold water. You know what I'm saying? Everything was just running through the back end of the defense, primarily on the side of our number 2 cornerback, whoever they decided to put over there. Marshawn Lattimore, I didn't see him getting abused. Marcus Williams didn't have the best day, but he was trying to make up for others' mistakes, being a safety net, and it just looked horrible, man. It's to the point where I'm wondering if we need to consider maybe a trade, giving up a draft pick or something to just get a decent cornerback.
We knew coming into this season that the Saints had issues in the secondary, dealing exclusively at the cornerback position, with P.J. Williams off and on a performance. Yesterday, Saturday, these news came out that the Saints was making a move to bench Ken Crawley, who had given up 3 touchdowns. I say 4. The blown coverage play, which allowed Deshaun Jackson to go unabated to the touchdown with that deep throw, that was Ken Crawley's man. People not crediting him for that, but I'm going to credit. Like I keep saying, it's this thing about trying to protect Ken Crawley. Damn that. P.J. Williams, when I seen that they were benching Crawley, I was like, okay, let's see what they're going to do. And then they said, oh, we're going to put P.J. Williams in there. That didn't inspire confidence in me because P.J. Williams hadn't done a damn thing the entire preseason. He had a few plays, but that didn't inspire confidence in me to say, well, hey, we got P.J. in there. P.J. is going to show up and do whatever he got to do. I, for one, thought P.J. Williams shouldn't be on this team. That's my thinking. I thought other guys that were at the secondary player, namely Marcus Williams from the Jets, did way better than those guys did, but some kind of way Sean Payton's brain went right past that and said, well, we're going to just hang in there with P.J. Williams. No, that's the hell with that. P.J. Williams was terrible. He was responsible for giving up 3 touchdowns a day and a 2-point conversion. And, of course, Ken Crawley continues his record-setting pace of giving up touchdowns as he was burnt again. So it's just amazing. And I wonder what rookie going to burn him next week, because it was Callaway last week. This week, it was the rookie from Crimson Tide, Ridley. They knew that they also knew they needed help. They drafted 2 defensive backs as well, besides signing Patrick Robinson. So they knew it was an issue. They still went on and released both of those guys, and now they're regretting it. Now they have to go back in search of finding somebody. But Patrick Robinson was carted off the field. That doesn't look good. He might be out for an extended amount of time, if not the season. So they'll have to rely on it. And not to mention the fact that P.J. Williams was replaced by the guy he replaced yesterday, Crawley. This is just an absolute mess when it comes down to the secondary. But talk about that, man. What's your thoughts on what I just said?
Man, you hit the nail on the head, man. That's exactly what I saw. It was depressing to watch because it's like we have such a good team in other areas. It's like this is embarrassing. Like the level of play that's on that side is like of a high school JV cornerback, man. Like, if you're going to give up something, at least don't get burned deep. You know, like, it's just horrible, dude. It's almost like, do they not know the plays? Like, it's difficult to be that bad against everybody. You know, this is a weekly thing now. Whoever they put over there lights us up. I'm not to take anything away from those receivers because we did have 3 fast receivers. Like, to be honest, all of those guys probably were faster than P.J. Williams and Ken Crawley. Still no in other areas of the defense like that. So it's almost like you want to ask, well, is it the scheme? Is it partially coaching, or is just we don't have any other available players? And you touched on a very interesting fact of Marcus Williams, and we had Cameron Moore and Nitrell Jamison, and both of our preseason rosters had P.J. Williams out of here.
Oh, yeah.
P.J. Williams was gone on both of our rosters.
Oh, yeah.
On yours, I know you was probably hard pressed for.
I put him out of here. I got rid of him. I seen enough of P.J. Williams.
You probably wanted Crawley out of here, you know?
Oh, man, I wanted Crawley as a nickelback. I don't even know if I want him at that now.
I thought he could stick Mohamed Sanu, man. Once I saw Mohamed Sanu came in and scored a touchdown on him, which Mohamed Sanu does well against us, but still, I was like, man. So we double Ridley and we make sure Julio locked up and then Mohamed Sanu.
It just don't make no difference. Nothing.
He can't do nothing. That was the touchdown Crawley gave up, I believe. That was PJ's 3rd touchdown, maybe. But either way, man, it's like if we can't patch that hole, you know, anybody we put over there, we're going to make them look good. So they really got to figure that out this week. PJ, I think, can still be a cornerback like number 5. And maybe Crawley follow him up at being a number 4. But we need to get somebody in here to be a 2 and possibly a 3. Especially if Patrick Robinson is seriously injured and he's going to have to go to IR.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting looking at it, moving ahead, man. Looking at some of the statistics from Atlanta's receiving corps, 26 catches on the day, 374 yards, 5 touchdowns overall. Calvin Ridley, 7 catches. He was targeted 8 times, 7 catches, 146 yards, averaging 21 yards a catch 3 touchdowns this man had. Julio Jones, 5 catches, 96 yards. Goose egg on the TDs. That's how I like it. Mohamed Sanu, 4 catches, 36 yards, and 1 score on the day. Austin Hooper had 3 catches for 23 yards. Ito Smith, 3 catches for 41 yards in the day. But Kelvin Ridley held the bulk of the load for the wide receiver core. And even Tevin Coleman got into that. He had 2 catches for 14 yards and 1 receiving touchdown. So very interesting day for the Saints secondary once again. But the good news is Saints won, right? We're going to go to our break here. But when we come back, we're going to finish hitting on the rest of our topics, such as Taysom Hill gets results. We're going to mention the Sports Coma question of the day once again, which is, did the Saints' performance in Atlanta inspire confidence to keep the title hopes alive? What you think about it? Tell us what you think about it. With all that being said, with all that being done over the last few games and this big win right here, because make no bones about it, this was a huge win, because if they had lost this game, they would have went down 0-2 in the NFC South. You don't want to do that in the NFC South. So they went to a difficult place and beat a pretty good team in Atlanta, a hated rival. So in overtime, in dramatic fashion. So the Saints, you got to give them credit for that. But anyway, we'll come back and we'll hit the rest of our subjects and talk about other things on the side of the break. So stick with us. You listen to the Sports Coma, Big Q and the guys.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is the Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love, unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time, get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Hit the link below and rep the black and gold today. Who that?
What's up, Sports World? The PRO Media Network is on a mission to reach 10,000 subscribers. So besides our regular programs like the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, the Pelican Post Game Report, Rapid Fire TSC, and others, we will be expanding out and offering other content like movie, anime, and gaming reviews for your entertainment. So if you enjoy our content, please donate at our Patreon page. Also subscribe, comment, and share. And help the PRO Media Network reach 10,000 subs. Peace.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Welcome back to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, and we're recapping the Saints 43-37 win in OT out there in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Wasn't pretty, but the Saints ultimately were able to do enough to get the game in hand. So
it depends on what you was looking at. If you said it wasn't pretty, because
wasn't pretty defensively. It wasn't pretty defensively when they were stringing out all the touchdowns, 5 touchdowns. It wasn't pretty. So anyway, let's get right into it. Let's dive right into it, DC. Let's talk about Taysom Hill, man, and to get this segment going. Taysom Hill gets results, man. He had 3 carries for 39 yards, averaging 13 yards a carry. His longest was a scamper for 35 yards. Taysom Hill continues to make things happen for this team. He also had 3 kick returns for 64 yards, averaging about 21 yards a carry. So let's talk about Taysom Hill in this affair. What do you think about Taysom Hill? What's your thoughts on Taysom Hill's performance against the Falcons?
Well, I was saying I love it, man. I love it. I think Taysom Hill has earned the opportunity to have a few more chances to do things like that. Every time he comes out on the field, it seems to cause confusion within the defense. And I think a lot of people look at him as like, okay, this is the quarterback. Okay, they're going to run the trick play. Like, really? This guy? and he goes out there and runs like a running back, man. I mean, we might want to think about putting him number 2 on the depth chart at running back too. Taysom Hill has been very impressive, and in this fight that was similar to like one of them old Mexican boxing fights where they just punching the hell out of each other. Taysom Hill came in a short period of time, man, and he threw some nice combos. There was a drive where the Saints finally gave in and ran the damn ball, man. A little off topic, I feel like if we would have done that more this game, it probably would have helped our defense out because we could have kept Atlanta off the field, and maybe we wouldn't have had to go to overtime because they couldn't stop our offense from doing anything. Taysom Hill was the key component when Sean Payton finally decided, you know what, we only got 9-10 rushing attempts, so we need to start running. No, we're not going to win this game. And they ran down the field, man, and they just, after that it was a 35-yard run, I think, by Taysom Hill, just out the blue. After that, to me, it just seems like Atlanta's defense, not their offense, but their defense, just all the air and the wind was sucked out of them from that point. The offense pretty much went on for the rest of the game unimpeded. I don't think we had any more 3-0s or anything after that. And Taysom Hill was the catalyst to get that started, man. So big ups to him, man. Stat sheet stuff in very little time.
Indeed, big ups to Taysom Hill. The Saints going to look to include Taysom Hill more and more in the offense as the days go past, and even in the special teams as well. So we're going to be looking out for that. That's really huge.
So excited too, man. He was fun out there, man. You love to see that.
When he comes out there and he make those gashing plays and kind of picks the team up and energizes them to a bit. So, of course, we did mention the secondary concerns in the first segment. I think this time around, of course, Patrick Robinson, he was carted off in the third quarter with an ankle injury, and it looks bad. So, obviously, the Saints, after watching the performance of P.J. Williams, which doesn't inspire confidence, Kent Crawley once again gets beat for his 4th touchdown, given up in the last 3 games. Of course, now we hoping that they can go and get one of the cornerbacks they should have kept on the team, which was Marcus Williams from the Jets, who looked pretty good in the Saints uniform. Perhaps he could be that guy to get. Of course, they got some pretty decent cornerbacks out there that the Saints are probably going to look at. Of course, they don't have any second.
Breland.
Breland. Of course, the Saints don't have any cornerbacks or defensive backs on their practice squad to pull from. And we did mention that when they were putting this practice squad together, that we knew that they would have injuries in the secondary that required them to make a move. But now they would most certainly make a move unless we know they ain't going to go into the next game with that 3 safety look. So the Saints, we want to be watching out for that move as it goes on.
How do you know? How you so sure they won't go with the 3 safety look, man?
Because, man, the 3 safety look, of course, Von Bell, we don't have an injury report on Von Bell. We know he left the game as well. Hopefully he's okay. But the 3 safety sets, Von Bell is probably one of the best guys to put in at that, I guess that safety would play that 3rd nickel, that 3rd cornerback position would be Von Bell sliding down to that fact. I don't know exclusive what Von Bell's injury is and if he's going to be able to play next week or what the issue is with him, but still in all, I still say that the Saints should go and bring in another cornerback, perhaps Marcus Williams. Now, I don't know if Marcus Williams was picked up by another team. I didn't hear anything on a wire about it, perhaps. Might have got past me, but if he's still out there, I think the Saints need to have him on speed dial and get him in here as soon as possible when P-Rob went down. So that's why I say that. Plus, he's a veteran. He's seen a lot of things, and he's not some young guy that you have. You got 2 guys in there playing like young guys, so you need somebody that's going to come in that's seen it all before. Marcus Williams, when he came in, he looked like a sure fit when he was in the preseason playing with the Saints, and I just think it was a terrific move to bring him in. It was a dumb move to release him. I would have let go of the other Williams, which was PJ, but they, for whatever reason, they can get rid of these guys like Natrell Jamerson and then say, okay, well, PJ Williams have more upside than the Natrell Jamerson, so we're going to hold on to PJ Williams. I don't know what it is with PJ Williams that they see, but it's the same foolishness that they see with Kent Crawley. You talk about blinders on Kent Crawley. These guys don't have blinders on Kent Crawley. They don't have no eyes when it come down to PJ Williams. I don't know what you see in PJ Williams, but PJ Williams is not showing enough to inspire that level of confidence. That's just what it is.
You don't think that they're sold on J3? Running 367
Oh my goodness! The only thing I can tell you, bro, is at the end of the day, is that if the best players, the best performances in preseason should earn you a job, but this year was hypocritical.
Is a no deal, my man. He's currently over there with Devontae Harris with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's just terrific.
From what I'm seeing.
So we're gonna have to look for another guy. Thank you for getting that information, by the way. But there it is. We'll have to find somebody else and bring him in here and see what happens. So there you go. So maybe perhaps the Saints will pull somebody off somebody else's practice squad. I don't know. Maybe they'll go after, you mentioned Breland. That sounds like an interesting pickup for the Saints.
Breland is probably the most accomplished, I think, cornerback out there. They had some concerns about an injury with him or a failed physical he had involved in that, Washington to Kansas City, or was it Carolina? I don't remember. But he was supposed to be involved in the trade, and he failed his physical. So hopefully he's healthy now. Maybe we give him a look.
Yeah, that might be the good case. The Saints will probably look at. We'll keep an eye out on that as well in the game.
He has the ability to be a number one cornerback, by the way. So
he does do that, and he is better than both Crawley and P.J. Williams, in my estimation, and in the estimation of most people that have eyes that know football. Anyway, let's go to our thumbs up and thumbs down segment, DC. Thumbs up, thumbs down, you first. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down player in his performance against the Falcons.
I got to mention two players that I didn't mention at all last week, and people probably were like, how could you not say him? And he had 2 sacks and blah, blah, blah. But I got to give Cam Jordan a thumbs up. And Drew Brees, man, because I talked about all the touchdowns he left on the table last week. He went back and he picked all of them up this week. He ain't leave nothing out there. He picked that lineup apart, so I definitely have to give those guys a thumbs up. Cam set the tone all day for the defensive line, man, and he looked to be in mid-season form today. My thumbs down, I mean, come on, man. Who do you think my thumbs down going to be? Matter of fact, we can just pick one. I'm going to give you your due. You love the best. King Crawley, so I'm going to give a thumbs down to P.J. Williams, man. P.J. Williams went out there and made a young, promising rookie look like a Hall of Famer. I mean, it was just utterly ridiculous. Calvin really definitely earned his keep, and he should have made some plays, and we knew he was going to make some plays, but there's no excuse for letting a rookie get 3 touchdowns, man. That's just horrible, dude. That is not all talent. That is just horrible play from your secondary. The major component I saw in the secondary that kept giving up those touchdowns was P.J. Williams, so thumbs down to him.
Despite P.J. Williams' terrible performance, giving up 3 touchdowns in one game, he had 5 tackles in the game, and he was struggling out there to the point where the Saints pulled him and put Ken Crawley before you walkie out there. Demario Davis led the way on defense, by the way. He had 8 tackles, 5 of which was solo and 1 QB hit. He was also responsible for one of the touchdowns that occurred when he had an opportunity to tackle the wide tackle. I think that was Tevin Coleman along the sidelines. And he blew the tackle, and he was able to get into the touchdown. So not too many mistakes Demario Davis makes, but that was one of them in the game. Good performances by a lot of these, the Saints linemen. Jay Bromley was nice in this one. Sheldon Rankins was nice in this one. You know, a lot of Cam, of course, that's 4 sacks in 2 games, very big. Von Bell was even, he had a pretty decent performance. 5 tackles, 5 of which was solo. But my thumbs up, thumbs down guy, I'm going to go to the special teams and thumbs up. Big thumbs up to Will Lutz. 3 kicks, 3 for 3, 100%, kicked the 49-yarder. Of course, he had one that bounced off the uprights to go in, but hey, I'll take that one too. He was responsible for 13 of the Saints' points in this one, and if it wasn't for his accurate kicking, the Saints would have not won this game. It wouldn't have been a tied situation to give him an opportunity to go in overtime. So big ups to Will Lutz in this game, and as he was 3 for 3, giving the kicker some love. Now, my thumbs down performance, of course, DC, you know you took P.J. Williams. That's an easy one. I think overall it's hard to kind of pick one since, you know, if I had to look at P.J. Williams or Ken Crawley, but P.J. Williams surrendered 3 touchdowns versus Crawley's 3-1, you know. So if anything, those 2 guys will give my thumbs down, you know, especially P.J. Williams, which is well, P.J. was just thrown in there, you know, he'll get better as the season goes on. And I just had enough of P.J. Williams. I mean, he's not a rookie. He's been here for multiple of years. He's been in the same system for multiple years. Yeah, he's had injuries, but who didn't have injuries? Cam had an injury and still performed. Most of these guys have injuries and they still go out there and they are productive. That's why they are on the team. P.J. Williams, to me, I've seen enough of him. You know, I'm not saying that about Ken Crawley. I still say Ken Crawley can get better because even though he stinks at times, he does have some propensity to improve incrementally. But P.J. Williams, to me, man, I've seen enough of P.J. Williams. He should have not been on the team. It should have been Natrell Jameson should have been on the team. So that's my thumbs up, thumbs down players. Okay, let's go into the Sports Coma's question of the day, the previous question of the day. We're going to read the replies. And, of course, I'm going to tell y'all again, so y'all put the answer, the comment, today's Sports Coma question of the day, which is, did the Saints' performance in Atlanta, the overtime win, 43-37, inspire confidence to keep their title hopes alive, to keep the Super Bowl hopes alive? What do you think? You know, we got a lot of fans out there, a lot of people out there that have really great information on it. Y'all tell us what you think. And of course, like we said, we'll read it on the next show. Now, of course, the last question of the day, the previous question of the day was, will the injuries in Atlanta guarantee the Saints a win? Of course, these are some of the things that a lot of the people said in reply to that question. DJ Austin chimed in. He said, okay, I say yes, but it's going to be a close game. But I do have a question about the running backs. When Mark comes back in the lineup, are the Saints going to cut Mike Gillislee? And do you think they'll sign back up J.T. Barrett back on the practice squad? Now, of course, this was asked a couple of days ago, and the Saints did sign J.T. Barrett back to the practice squad just to let you know yesterday. So, yes, he's back on the practice squad. And will they cut Mike Gillislee? I mean, I'm not seeing too much from Gillislee for me to say, you know what, hold on to him. Today, you look at what he did. He had absolutely zero stats in the receiving game, but he had 3 carries for 10 yards. That's not inspiring to me. So I would have to say yes. You're not going to hold on to a player that's that minimal production. Say, well, he still don't know the offense yet, Q. Well, I mean, even when he comes back, that's going to be a third back. I just don't see it. He doesn't play special teams. I don't think the Saints going to hold on to him. I think they probably will end up releasing him. So I'm going to say yes to that. DC, what you think about that question?
They definitely release him. He don't play in the passing game. He basically only has one role. We gritting our teeth to have him on the team right now. We need another guy that can pound the rock and probably be a bruising back. So he's there just if need be for that one thing he could do. And if y'all know anything about the Saints, anybody that can only do one thing, they probably only going to play for 4 or 5 weeks. So we don't need him no more.
Okay, DJ has another question that he also asked. He said, well, my question to you is, because we don't have any cornerback, and I think the middle linebackers are okay, so I will release a linebacker or someone I'm not familiar with. But I think J.T. Barrett should be on the practice squad when you're coming out with the New Orleans. He was asking about the New Orleans Pelicans video because the preseason starts in a week. And a day, which is on Sunday, September the 3rd, I'll be looking out for the guard spot as well as the wing spot. Your thoughts? So he was asking about the Pelican post-game report. Of course, thank you, DJ, for asking that question. I agree with you about the cornerbacks. That was a main concern of mine coming into the season. They signed P-Rob, and of course, everybody said, well, P-Rob will maintain a nickel position. But we lose P-Rob in this game. That's a major blow because now you had Ken Crawley, and of course, we were counting on Lattimore to be on an island against their number 1 receiver. So they would slide protection to the side where Ken Crawley is because he's definitely going to need protection a lot. Problem is he's still getting beat sometime with the protection. Sometimes sometimes you can't always have the protection. Sometimes it shifts and they have to go some other place. Sometimes they might send one of the DBs in at a blitz and knock the quarterback around. Sometimes you're going to have to be out there by yourself, Mr. Ken Crawley, and guard those guys one-on-one. You can't keep getting beat over the top like this. It's ridiculous. Even if you got to grab the guy and tackle him so you don't get – I'd rather you pass interference the guy than allow him to run past you for a touchdown. I mean, seriously. I mean, they might not like it. He did that too. He did that
turned into a touchdown, but when he decided to pass interference, it was probably like 58 yards.
It's amazing, man. But anyway, but thanks for that question, DJ. And just to let you know, we got a Pelican post-game report show coming out real soon, bro. It'll be out between either Monday or Tuesday. We'll be recovering the Jared Jack signing. And, of course, I don't know if you heard the previous show that we did. We had a Pelican insider, Scott Kushner, that chimed in on a lot of great questions dealing with the Pelicans team. If you haven't heard that, I ask you to, I think you should go and listen to it to probably answer a lot of the questions. It was a really good interview. And, and be looking out for the new Pelican post-game report. It'll be out by Monday or Tuesday of this upcoming week. So thanks for your question, buddy. And then, of course, we have another question here. Timothy Russ, Tim chimes in. He said, with all of them players out due to injuries, including Deion Jones, I think the Saints will win. I'm not saying a guarantee because they still got Julio and Sanu, but the Saints, Drew, will expose the absence of Deion Jones in the middle of the field. AK might get 200 all-purpose yards. Now, that's Tim. Tim being a prophet of sorts chiming in. Right. He was Elvin Kamara. He said almost 200 yards. Hey, man, he almost did have that all-purpose 200 yards. He came real close to it, didn't he?
190 yards all-purpose. If you want to count, probably maybe I guess a punt return. Maybe they left that out there. He probably was.
He was over 200 yards if you count the punt returns. He had He had 66 yards rushing. He had 124 yards in receiving yardage. And then you throw in his kick return, which he had 3 punt returns for 16 yards. So, yeah, he was definitely 200 yards. So that was very prophetic by Tim chiming in on, and he's absolutely right. What you think about that comment?
I think it's an excellent comment, man, and he was right on top of it. Just goes to show. I love the people who listen to the show, man, because they come here with information and they know what they're talking about.
They most certainly do, bro. Most certainly do. And then my final comment is from Joshua Welling. What's up, Joshua? Injuries play a role, but it's not a guarantee based on how well the Saints play. They need to be balanced on offense, and the defense needs to get off the field on third down. Just going by what the Saints have shown the last few weeks, that effort isn't going to get done against any team, let alone the Falcons. Who's going to make plays outside of Kamara and Thomas will be key to the Saints' success this week. I'm looking forward to see what Traquan Smith and Cameron Meredith can do. Again, Jr. is going to get some returns in the punts and kick return. I'm also still waiting to see which running back is going to step up outside of Kamara. Remember, this time last year, the Saints went to Carolina and the defense broke out. Also, P.J. Williams is going to get some snaps at corner. They took a look at Crawley at nickel back this week. Okay, that's Josh's comment. DC, you heard what he said. Very prophetic as well with Joshua. He named it. He said, which receiver will step up outside of Michael Thomas and Elvin Kamara? And whatever the receiver stepped up, Ben Watson stepped up. The tight end, 5 catches, 71 yards. You know, Teddy Ginn Jr. had 3 catches for 12 yards and a score. Cameron Meredith finally got going. He had 1 catch for 11 yards, but it was for a touchdown. Zach Line had 2 catches for 6 yards and 1 for a touchdown. Josh Hill had 1 for 17. Of course, Austin Carr had a nice catch, 1 catch for 25 yards in the game. So, of course, the Saints attempting to try to get other guys outside of Mike Thomas and Elvin Kamara going. Getting the tight end going is a very smart mindset as well. DC, what you think about Josh's comment?
Again, spot on, man. But I think there's going to be a little bit of time before Traquan Smith gets up to speed. Probably once everybody starts to try to really key in on Kamara and Michael Thomas. I don't know how they're going to do that. But as they get increased pressure, I think you're going to see the roles of the other guys expand. And Ted Ginn will forever and always be our wild card. And knowing Sean Payton after this game, he had a couple of drops. So you're definitely going to see more targets go to Meredith, and Traquan Smith is probably going to cut into some of the targets he gets. And like our astute commenter mentioned, we will get some special teams work out of Ted Ginn, so that's also going to take away from touches just a little bit.
That'll be all for the previous comments from the Sports Coma question of the day from the last show. This question of the day, I'm going to mention it again, is the Sports Coma question of the day is, did the Saints' performance in Atlanta inspire confidence to keep the title hopes alive? Y'all chime in. I really want to hear what y'all guys think. This was a big win by the Saints. Wasn't the prettiest of wins, but it was damn sure exciting. So, I mean, you can't fault them for not having exciting games. This was a very exciting game, even though our secondary stalled out a bit. A couple of pieces in our secondary didn't look too well. But that'll be it for the show today. Thank you guys for chiming in and listening to us on podcast 234 of the Sports Coma. As always, if you enjoy the show, you can help us out monetarily by going to patreon.com/the PRO Media Network. Become a monthly contributor, or you can just contribute one time to empower the platform to keep turning out great Saints commentary or great shows like you're listening to.
Hey, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Before we leave, I got some stuff I want to throw on the wall and see if it sticks.
Okay, go for it.
What about these 2 wild cards for our secondary? We love to run the 3 safeties, right?
Yes, we do.
Why not take a look at Eric Reed?
That would be actually. That would be interesting to have Eric Reed
could
here.
Play cornerback in the slot. He's that good of a coverage safety.
I love that move. I would love that move. I won't even lie to you.
I got one more for you. There was a guy that was very mad that his team was losing, and he decided to retire at halftime.
We don't need Vontae Davis.
Can we convince him to come out of Vontae Davis? Can we convince him to come out of retirement and maybe come play cornerback for the Saints?
I think we
Vontae Davis is actually a pretty good cornerback.
I like Eric Reed idea better. If something happens to Von Bell, I think Eric Reed is a guy that would be a tremendous upgrade. He's a former LSU guy. He's in the prime of his career. I love the move to have him in. He's a hitter. He's real intelligent on the back end of that defense. The Vontae Davis move, I do not like it. I think he's a quitter, even though he retired. But if he'd have retired at the end of the game, that's one thing. But to retire in the middle of the game with the team counting on you, that kind of really looks bad. I don't think Sean Payton would want a guy like that in his locker room. You can't trust him and count on him. Regardless of how bad Ken Crawley and P.J. Williams look getting burned all over the place, at least them guys don't quit. They can still go out there and stink and get burnt all over the place, but at least they be running to the best of their ability to make plays. So I'm never going to say that they ain't putting in the effort. They're doing all they can. It's just not enough. But that other guy, I like Derek Reed out there to be a little bit better than that one.
Maybe we sign Devin Breaux back up from the Canadian League.
I think he's tied to the Canadian League for the next 2 years. I think his contract keeps him there.
It's 1 year. I think it's just 1 year.
If that's the case, then that is a possibility. I would be interested because he is healthy and he would come back relatively cheap. So that's good ideas. But anyway, as always, thank you guys for listening to the show. Join our social media pages at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All the links are in the description section below. From me and DC and the crew at Sports Coma, peace.
Get ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Thank you for listening to the Pro Media Network, who provides hours and hours of free edutainment to you and yours. If you are benefiting positively from our content, please donate to help us grow our platform by going to www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. That's www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. And support the true independent artists.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love, unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time. Get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.
There's a reason this office canceled Casual Friday. Why this guy is getting cut out of the will. And why sibling rivalries really exist. There's a reason he's always Employee of the Month. And why no shirt and no shoes is no problem. There's a lot of reasons to be a fan, but only NBAstore.com has all the gear.
What's up, sports world? This Big Q from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Talking to you about the website, theposhlifestyle.com. That's right, poshlifestyle.com. A great website where you can get great products at great prices. They sell organic herbs, vitamins, supplements, water filters for your home, EMF and cell phone radiation protection, protection, healing magnetics, and healing crystals, personal protection devices like cell phones, stun guns, and mace spray, organic deodorants, shampoos, soaps, toothpaste, and more. They also sell 10A grade Brazilian hair. 10A music is available now, all kind of the latest downloadable mixtapes. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to theposhlifestyle.com. That's The Posh Lifestyle, life spelled with a Y, LYFE, style.com. Put in The Sports Coma for the 10% discount on your purchase. It's a win-win. So get your mind and body right with The Posh Lifestyle.